Welcome to the 1457 podcast from Scotland, where golf began. As usual, we'll tell you about our digital platform that we use to inspire golfers near and far with a brilliant photography, short films and stories, and podcasts like this. We are really keen to inspire golfers, people who love golf from all around the world, to visit Scotland. So I'm Stevie, I am your functioning golf addict, and as ever I'm joined by Malcolm Duck, legend from East Lothian, and our Fife ambassador for tonight, Dave Kerr, also of Morton Golf. Good evening to you both. Good evening, Dave.
Evening all. I hope everyone's well on this beautiful Scotland's Gulf Coast. Wonderful, beautiful, sunny microclimate night.
Well, Malcolm, just to set the record straight, I'm sitting here in Glasgow and it is absolutely scorcho here too, mate. So you can't claim your microclimate just for Scotland's Golf Coast or whatever that marketing campaign come up with.
No, I'm glad the steam will be coming off the fairways as it dries out on the wet coast. So I'm looking a bit brown here, to be honest. I'm guessing looking at brown across your way with the Opens coming up.
Well, yeah, exactly. Not too far away. Special one at that, the 150th. And around that, we are doing a special series of podcasts focusing on the Open courses in Scotland. So you're going to hear about our experiences of those courses as well as some guests from the courses we're talking about. Tonight, we are going to the venue for the 150th Open. We're not actually physically going there. We're going there mentally. We're going to take you on a mental journey to the old course in St Andrews, scene of the 150th Open, and arguably probably the one golf course in the world that's associated with being the home of golf and probably a strong association with the Open. I'm not getting a rise out of Malcolm Duck, annoyingly, but I'm trying my hardest.
Well, no, I'm just sitting here. I thought we were doing Troon and Carnoustie, and then Kerr's, of course, just managed to swing the thing so he can get all the prep done. So I'm a low-flying blind duck coming in on this one. So I am a member of the St Andrews Club, which is a wonderful club just beside the 18th green of St Andrews.
Well,
so
is that going to be... Is that basically going to be your default answer to any time you feel a wee bit stumped, Malcolm? You're just going to drop the St Andrews Club membership on us?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, fair enough.
Possibly.
Right, well, Dave has not had a chance to get a word in edgeways as yet, so why don't we allow him to give us a potted history of the golf course? And as usual with these sections, not to pay any disrespect to the history of the fine establishment, Dave, give us it in 3 minutes, right? Because we're in a rush.
Okay. No, absolutely. Again, St Andrews, the true home of golf, obviously, has a long and storied history, going back to 1552, when the local Archbishop John Hamilton gave the townspeople of St Andrews the right to play on the links. And then if you fast forward a couple hundred years to 1754, they then had 22 of the kind of local landed gentry who set up something called the Society of St Andrews Golfers. That society would eventually become the Royal and Ancient Golf Club of St Andrews. There's some kind of heartache in there as well. So about 50 or so years later, 1797, the St Andrews Links had a scare when they went bankrupt. And the town council, to try and make a few quid, decided to allow rabbit farming on the golf course. And that caused a bit of tension with the golfers, as you might imagine. 20 years of legal battling later, a local landowner, James Cheap, bought the land and is credited with saving the links for golf and then gifted that land to the town. Originally, it was played over the same set of fairways out and back to 22 holes. Again, was that one for each of the founders of the Society of St Andrews Golfers? Perhaps. Perhaps some say it was because there was 22 shots and a bottle of whiskey. Sometimes you need more than one to get around each of those holes. Back in about 10 or so years later, 1764, William St Clair of Roslin redesigned the course to have 18 holes, obviously then setting the standard for all golf courses going forward. And then if you fast forward another 100 years, that's when old Tom Morris took over as keeper of the greens and separated the first 17th green, producing the current 17-hole layout that we've kind of got today, with 7 double greens, 4 single greens. Until that point, the old course was played clockwise, with golfers playing from what is currently the first tee out to the 17th green as the first hole, and then keep going from there. So you play 18th tee to 16th green, etc., etc. And for a number of years after the change, that was played on alternate directions week to week. So 1 week clockwise, 1 week counterclockwise. And then Even as recently as the 1970s, it was played clockwise for 1 month each winter, just to kind of mix things up. And recently, the St Andrews Links Trust decided to switch back to the clockwise routing for 1 day each year. And there's a kind of local ballot of members to allow to play to that. And it's very much oversubscribed, very popular to give that a go. Play the course as it was originally designed by old Tom. And again, if you move on to look at the Open, I suppose, as we talked about it in a previous podcast when we spoke to Ken from Prestwick about the agreement between Prestwick Golf Club, the Honourable Company of Edinburgh Golfers and the R&A to start rotating the hosting of the Open Championship in 1872. The 13th Open was the first one held over the old course in 1873, and local man Tom Kidd became the champion golfer of the year, winning the princely sum of £11. And after putting that together with the money he raised by selling his gold medal that he won to being the champion, he put that to good use to marry his beloved Eliza.
So,
nice
did he
story,
pay Eliza? Is that how he paid it?
I think maybe that was the
nested?
fashion for the time.
Right, okay. That was a trend of the time. Right, interestingly, 150th Open will be the 30th Open to be held over the old course. Malcolm, quick quiz for you. How many have been won by Scots?
Oh, I don't know. I know that Tom Watson has not won, and it's the only Scottish Open venue at which he has not won.
That's a nice counter to this fact. Not being able to answer that question, Malcolm. I liked that. Has he come second at St Andrews?
Yeah, I think he was almost there one year, and he tried to go for glory in the 17th and didn't come off, and that's what.
Oh
Guston.
yeah. Was that when?
I can't use my name, otherwise I might be rude.
Was it not when Seve won it? Watson was second.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so here's a quick summation of the Opens at St Andrews from a nationality point of view. 10 have won by Scots, 4 by Englishmen, 10 by Americans, 2 by Australians, and 2 South Africans, and 1 wonderful Spaniard, Severiano Ballesteros. You found a great quote from Tiger Woods, actually, Dave, didn't you, about winning at St Andrews?
Yeah, it was after his win in 2000. He said, "It may be years before I fully appreciate it, but I'm inclined to believe that winning the Open at the home of golf is the ultimate achievement in this sport." Very much echoing.
I wasn't a great Tiger fan, but I remember when he pulled the ball out the hole on the 18th, and that smile on his face, it just meant so much to him. It was unbelievable. I mean, one of the years he really tried, they should have ripped it apart, and he beat them by a lot. I mean, the course was pretty easy because there was no wind and dry, but he beat them by 8 shots. But when he pulled that ball out, you could just see what it meant to him. That's when I started really turning around to be a Tiger fan of what he's done for the sport. And it's tremendous. He's coming back from this 150th or 149th or 150th.
Oh, controversial.
Was it not open the first year? Was it just an invite? So anyway, I'm sure the modern masters of PR at St Andrews will make that work. Much as I give you a hard time about Fife and all that lot in St Andrews and so on, I mean, you standing on that first tee in the old course in the town is pretty special. I remember when the No Laying Up guys were doing some filming and my phone started buzzing, and how the hell are you on the St Andrews episode? And I'd forgot they'd interviewed me in the bar, and wasn't necessarily remembering what I was saying, so I kind of went along the lines of, and it's true, I'll stand by what I said. He said that, I mean, the first is basically a field. It's a big wide field with a burn running close and a flat green. I played my first medal there from St Andrews Club, and I was 2 under going out, and very pleased with myself. And the young lady was saying, "Welcome to your first medal, welcome young boy, enjoy the course." And then I turned around, goodness me, did she smack me all the way home. 2 visits to the bunker, 14 over par for the back 9. I didn't do anything particularly wrong. It's just you stay left there. One course I would say, if you don't play it with a member or a caddy to get more enjoyment out of it, because you do need to understand your lines. And I think it's a course you play more often, you begin to enjoy it more and more and more. It's a wonderful, wonderful golf course.
And I think, as you say there, those bunkers can be the ruin of many a round of golf. And again, if we go back to Tiger in 2000, the secret to his success there, which was considerable because he won by 8 shots, I think, didn't he, was that he just stayed out of bunkers all week. Didn't find a bunker all week, which is just a remarkable feat, to be honest, to play 4 rounds there and not put your ball in a bunker.
Even now in the power game, they have made adjustments, and they are making more adjustments for this year to try and make it longer because it isn't long enough. But, there'd be an inclination to just try and overpower it. But it's those bunkers are the things that they fall foul to because they are strategically placed, even in longer distances. The modern players will be able to get near a few greens off the tee that maybe 20 years ago they wouldn't, but then there's always just that bunker that just makes it not work.
Is it the 12th that it's got all the bunkers across it? There's a load of bunkers on the 12th. So that's the 12th off the par 3, isn't it? And I think Watson said
it's quite short, isn't it?
Yeah, he just doesn't know how to play it. What do you do? Sometimes you hit driver and go for it and you can get in trouble, but if you do it, do you lay up? With anything kind of half sensible, it's just incredible. So somebody like Tom Watson's figuring out how to play it every time he goes to play. What's it like for the rest of us?
Is that the one with the green that sits up? It's like
it's after the par 3. You know, you've got the par 3 go to the sea.
It's like the first one you turn round to go back towards the town.
Great golf hole.
Yeah, then again, if you're a wee bit short there, you're rolling off the front. You need to be hitting the fairway to have a shot at the green. You need to be all the way there to hold that green.
Yeah. So you can go left and you can go right, but then you pull it a wee bit or push it a wee bit, you're in trouble. But again, there's not much trouble over the back of it from memory, but which is actually true quite often in links holes. You're better through the back than you are coming up short.
I've had some brilliant experiences playing it. 2 of the 3 times I've played with people I've never met before because of the way it's been set up, you know, for a ballot. So one time was this family, father and son, who lived in Carnoustie, actually beside Carnoustie, and they'd just come over for a game and try and get on, which was great. And then the next time, myself and my friend, we ended up with these 2 young college players from the States, and it was brilliant fun. So we ended up having a sort of Ryder Cup style match with them. They were loving it, but they absolutely were trying to play bomb and gouge, and it was kind of hilarious how, don't get me wrong, it did pay off sometimes because they hit the ball so far, but then there was other times where they were just like in such deep trouble, but not for straying too far offline. They'd just gone too far near the hole. So we got to the last, and I think we were 1 up, and I hit a good drive down there on the last, and it's obviously quite a short hole. I had a wedge in, and there's lots of people standing behind the green watching, and you're just like, oh, wait a minute, I'm not used to this. And so I hit the shot, and I hit a great wedge shot, hit it to about 3 feet, and people were clapping, and it's like the only time in my golfing life that I've ever had that experience of somebody actually clapping my shot. And then the pressure I felt... Yeah, waving to the crowd. And the pressure I felt, though, of having to hold the putt, which I managed to do. I think it did trickle in on the back end, though, to be fair, because it was very nervy. And I got another wee smattering of applause. What a brilliant experience. And that's probably one of the things that makes it, isn't it? As much as how hard the course is, it's the situation.
Just back into history a wee bit. Old and young Tom Morris won 6 of the first 10 Opens at St Andrews. Who won the first one, David?
Tom Kidd.
Would that not be a Willie Park Senior?
It's
the inaugural championship in 1860 resulting success for Willie Park Senior.
Oh, right.
Where was he from?
The first Open. I don't know. I don't think people don't really talk about where he was from. It's an inconsequential part of the golfing world. So, it's 129 yards wide, the first fairway, right? It's 7 acres of land. It should be easy. Right, it should be easy to put your ball in that fairway, and yet we're lucky enough to take clients and host them there, and they stand there, knees knocking, really nervous about that first tee shot. The guys that are playing off 4, 5, 6 handicaps and stand there just nervous and twitching over that tee shot. It doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't stand up.
But there's no other first tee, I don't think, where you stand on and you feel that sense of history and all the rest. I think it's partly because you've got the big building in the background, and I mean the only thing to bother you really should be the stream across the front, and you have to be able to duck it a wee bit to be able to get there. So, you know, as long as you kind of go middle left, you should be fine. But I've seen people putting it out of bounds both sides.
Yeah.
Well, yes, our good friend Crawford,
I've seen that
of course,
as well.
has done that. So, yeah, it's. But yeah, no, I remember I rolled up last year. We had some clients off, and there was a group in front of them. For those that haven't played before, there's a small starter's hut next to the first tee. You check in there, you tell them your handicap, you pay your green fee if you're in the ballot. And the group in front of our group were there checking in, and handicaps were asked for, handicaps were delivered. The fourth guy very nervously and shakily said his handicap was 22. And I think everyone that heard him knew that his handicap wasn't 22. It was probably much higher than that. And fair enough, he gets out on the first tee, steps on the first tee, takes his swing, right into the ground, pops about 20 yards. There's just a hush to sayings over the people watching this. He steps forward his 20 yards to play the second shot, and he knocks it out of bounds. And he's got a caddy, and the caddy just kind of tugs him by the arm. right, son, let's just get up to the green and we'll drop one down. That's the only way you can play the old course. Hopefully, had a good day after that.
That reminds me of the great caddy quote. The player turned around to the caddy and said, "Caddy, you're the worst player in the world." And the caddy replied, "Sir, that'd be too much of a coincidence." But the caddies up there are fantastic. They do a great job. No trolleys before lunchtime, and mats in the winter, I think, is it not? I mean, considering the volume of play it gets, it's in good nick. And the other thing people maybe don't know is it's closed on a Sunday. Because it's a public course. So if you're a pro want to go and play there, you don't get courtesy because it's a public course. So it's and that's going back to days of old when it all started. The traders used to come across and set up their stalls on the beaches, going way back to the beginning of time.
It's a terrific place for a wander on a Sunday. People walking their dogs and all sorts. And the Links Trust actually run little kind of guided tours as well on a Sunday that you can go and join in and hear the stories and the history of the place. It's terrific, actually.
You must have saw Tom Kidd winning his Open Championship at St Andrews.
He asked me for a wee bit of advice just before he went out, and I just said, "Sonny, just keep it left, keep it left, and you'll be fine."
So what's the experiences of being there at the Open? My first one there was 2010 actually, which was great, and I saw, that was Thursday, and saw Rory, the end of Rory's 63, where he literally, the ball was in a string. Oh, how it all changed the next day.
So you famously didn't see Rory shoot in the 70s. That was the thing at St Andrews at the time, wasn't it? That he never shot in the 70s. Did he back up his 63 when 82? Is that right?
80. I think it was an 80. He went 63, 80. But then, to be fair, he ended up finishing second or third, didn't he? Because he was under par for the last two. So that was a good experience.
A guy called Simon Lechallis used to run the Bollinger tent, and Simon was a legend in both the malt, he was master of the maltman and the vintners, nicknamed the Tank. And he and his father before him ran the Bollinger tent. So I always used to take Simon and smoke Simon lunch and go in round the back. So I got my Bollinger, we both got our lunch.
Nice.
And it's a bit like, king in the count house counting all his money, all the stuff there. Quite often didn't get out to see the golf because that was always a very pleasant way. And a wee quick story about Simon, because I can't remember when he started doing it, 40 years. When the Open went to Dublin, the Tuesday morning to Ireland, I got a text from Simon saying, "Looking forward to watching the Open for the first time on television. Didn't see it at the Scottish Open, but I'll be in Dublin." Where was it? In Portrush.
Portrush.
Yeah, this is not funny, but Simon would find it funny. Simon died of a heart attack on the Thursday morning. So the Shallis family, Dad was an absolute legend, but Simon would have found that funny. He was never destined to watch the Open on television, except in the back of his counting house. Wonderful guy. And there are all sorts of stories of that. He was a member of the R&A. They got flooded and to replace all the champagne and so on and so forth. Member of St George's. The R&A and the lunches at the R&A there are fantastic. Women are out in there now. That's all changed, Dave, is it not?
Golf in Scotland has changed so much, I suppose, recently, and probably worth mentioning the two Women's Open they obviously held at St Andrews as well. Ochoa winning and Stacey Lewis, terrific champions. And again, I think that's the thing about St Andrews. I think people think it can be an easy golf course, but you look at the calibre of the people that win there, whether that's the gents or the ladies or even the seniors. I think was it Jimenez, I think, won the seniors over the old course. The calibre of the champions is so great. Talking about some of the best golfers to swing a golf club that win there. I think it was one of Jack Nicklaus's quotes, "If you're going to be a player people will remember, you have to win the Open at St Andrews," I think he said.
Yeah, I think it's a fair
I said that to Tom Watson.
A little bit too loud, a little bit too pointedly.
Oh no, I don't think so. I think they were great muckers. But I think actually that Turnberry, when Watson didn't win it at Turnberry, I think Jack phoned him up not long afterwards and said, "Tom, you've done something made me do something I've never done before. What's that? Watch 18 holes of golf on television." Yeah. So I think there's quite a lot of respect between those two. But that Seniors Open, Jimenez one, that was very close. That was a great tournament, great competition. When Katrina was on, again, how will it survive? It depends on the wind. As she said, and a lot of the players, links course needs wind. It's not all about length. If it blows windy, because they can, big greens, big greens, they can tuck the pins away.
What also, though, is when it is windy, they don't cut the grass, the greens, and it makes it slower, and then that actually hinders the players as well, because they're just not used to playing greens that slow. Because the last Open at St Andrews, that was devastated by the weather, wasn't it?
Went to the Monday.
Was that the first ever Open? Yeah, it went to Monday. Well, it didn't, because the Lytham one went to Monday once as well, didn't it?
That's when Watson was coming down on the second day, probably about to miss the cut. And he didn't get his chance to really be in front of the crowds at the Swalcombe Bridge, and he was playing with the Big Easy. And I think they were about to call it off, and the Big Easy said, "You can call it off if you like, but we are finishing." Mr. Watson is not coming out in the morning.
And then that was when Kupka had the argument with the R&A official, wasn't he? Saying that because he went out and he tried to make him play, and he said it's unplayable because he was putting his ball down.
Well, I think that's one of the problems.
Was just blowing off the green.
Yeah, I think Big Easy was insisting that they were going to finish. Kind of became, can you make it choice then? I don't know what you do. Anyway, they finished. But a lot of the town did turn up that night to watch Tom at the bridge when he came in. It was a lot of people came out for that. So though he didn't get his basking afternoon sunlight, a lot of folk came out to watch him.
Did you go to that Open, Malcolm?
I did, yeah. I was staying with my brother, but I'd been in trouble the night before for staying up late drinking whiskey with his wife, because Callan's medication for different bits, so he's not like to drink so much. I was going to go out again with one or two of the press boys, but for once I thought I maybe would need a bed more than anything else. So I was a very, very good boy and stayed in.
Sensible, very sensible. So are we excited for it this year? We're going to have a lot of people there. First time ever limited tickets for the Open, which they've obviously sold out. It's a brilliant vibe in the town as well, isn't it?
I'm not sure about this. I mean, I get the commerciality of it. They're all sold out, all the rest. But it's just a bit of a shame you can't turn up on the day. Maybe that's what I can't remember the boy's name. He was with Celtic, then he went to the R&A, and now he's gone to Bunkered on the marketing side. So they just released the tickets for next Open already. So now they're getting in the build-up to the Open, they're selling the tickets while it's everyone's mind. So commercially it makes a lot of sense, but for the average golf fan wanting to go along, it's
a shame, but then it has created a desirability, hasn't it? And I can imagine it's not necessarily that much limited to what they sell, but they've created a vibe.
I think they've just announced they're expecting 290,000 people at it.
It's a great TV course. It's not the best course to watch on. It's quite narrow. It's going to get people in between, so it's tough to get a lot of people in.
It's not great because there's a lot of holes where you can't see what you can only be on one side. However, it's a nice experience just to kick about.
Just sit in the champagne tent and watch on the big screen.
Yeah, that's the best.
Again, and they've done a bit of work to add some additional grandstanding this year as well. And I think find a good seat and a good grandstand and get a good view. Behind 17, maybe behind 2, and just spend your day there and take a good look and soak it in.
I think it is good that we keep going back to these courses where everything started. They shouldn't be coming off the rota just because they're not best viewing. Because however many people you put on the golf course to view it, you're still going to get to the power why watching it on TV. Watching the Open full stop is just fantastic. It really is. I just hope the wind blows a wee bit. But then again, Scottish Open, that's the week before, so if you kind of go to the Open, that field's going to be pretty stellar. So you can always go along and buy a ticket on the day.
It's a terrific little kind of run of events in Scotland, right through from the Scottish to the Open to the ladies to the seniors. Really terrific run of events. I saw something the other day. I think they've added about 30 yards to the course from 2015. So little nibbles here and there, but nothing significant.
Have they not put a new tee for the 17th back in the practice ground? Is that not what it is now?
They did that for last time, I think. It looks a bit silly most of the time, but again, it'll have some good grandstanding around it, and I'm sure it'll get a lot of attention. People looking for what kind of lines these guys are taking off the tee will be very different to the ones that maybe you or I would take off that tee, certainly.
Yeah,
well, mine's obviously is towards the far side of the left, the second fairway. Actually.
So I'm just thinking, why would you be watching their lines? It's totally irrelevant to us.
I know. Fine, you can hit them in that line, but you won't carry the hotel on the other side.
No, you won't get to the wall off that tee.
Well, they've, for this year, they've obviously put an extra floor on the hotel. That doesn't help the guys that hit the big high draw, I suppose, does it? So
that's true.
Oh, good point. Yeah. It is a great tee shot. I mean, 17th is probably the thing that makes it as a golf course, isn't it?
That's one of the holes. One of the holes in Masters in the major golf.
Major golf. Yeah.
Is there any hole? I mean, yeah, that's fantastic.
It's iconic, but also what's good about it is also difficult. Really difficult.
Wow, you go through the back, you got the road, you got the wall, you got all that kind of stuff.
The drive, and even the drive, when you feel that you've hit it straight over the line you think you need in the hotel, then you find your ball and you're like in the edge of the semi-rough and near to the rough because it's just you've hit it too straight.
Malcolm, you touched on it earlier. The value of a good caddy there. By that point of a round, he knows how far you're hitting the ball, where you're hitting the ball. he can tell you what line you need to hit that on, because even if you've played that course half a dozen times, you're still not quite sure what the line is for your off that tee. So that's where the value of the caddy comes in, isn't it?
Well, I don't know whether it's going out, but the US Open, that last hole in the US Open, the winner puts it in the bunker. And I don't know if you saw the interview afterwards. He said, my caddy told me exactly what I was doing. He had no say in what was happening. Wise old head. Who's the caddy?
Billy Foster.
Billy Foster. Well, amazing guy. I'm lucky enough to meet him a couple of times. Billy's just a wonderful guy. Great pal of John Hall's, one of the Renaissance members, his chief marshal. They played golf together as kids. But I mean, that bond between the caddy and player, get in there, hit that. What a shot that was. Right down the grip and just bush. Fantastic.
It was a great moment after as well, where he'd hold out the putt because they were waiting for Zalatoris to putt, and then basically Billy Foster puts his head over his hands and bows his head because he was like obviously quite emotional. And,
his first major, I suppose. Yeah. The quality of the excitement, the quality of the recent finish on the European Tour event, of the finish on the recent PGA Tour event. You've got 3 amazing events that have happened recently with terrific finishes, and all these guys are going to come over here to Scotland. We're going to see them at the Scottish Open. We're going to see them at the Open. It's an amazing summer of golf in Scotland, really.
So who do you think is going to win?
Good question.
It's hard to look past Rory, but obviously Fitzpatrick, Zalatoris is knocking on the door every major now, so it's going to be interesting.
I like Fitzpatrick after watching that. I mean, he played some pretty solid golf and very experienced caddy on his bag. I could say I quite like that. No cracking under pressure, no silly stuff.
A lot of it is, as with the Open, a lot of times though, it is a wee bit of the luck of the draw, because it's whether you have the early, early, and then what the weather is. Because when Rory shot that 63, I turned up and there was not a breath of wind and it was damp. It was target practice. So that is an absolute advantage. And then obviously what happened to him the next day shows that the weather can have such a detrimental effect, where it was like 50 mile an hour gusts and the flag was bent sideways. So I think I agree with that, Fitzpatrick. I agree with Rory. But, more than any other major, the draw plays a big part in it, without a doubt. I think Spieth as well. Somebody that's got that sort of creativity. I know he's not shown form recently, but he's got that creativity that works in links golf that I think could be applied to St Andrews. And he came close that year when he was close to Grand Slam, didn't he?
I mean, it's not really talked about too much in these podcasts, but I mean, I think Rory, US Open, having not played that well, still scored okay. Didn't let it get away from him. That third day, it could have got well away from him. And he was still trying to take things on the last day correctly, because he had to make a move. But he still looked happy at the end of it, and it was really nice when he went and gave Fitzpatrick a big hug and a congratulations coming off the green. I thought that was pretty classy. What about St Andrews, where you eat and drink? Because you talked about the...
Stayed there many a time.
Yeah.
I stayed there since it's been refurbed. It's a phenomenal place to stay.
Wonderful restaurant up on the top floor overlooking the 18th and 1st. It's absolutely glorious.
And the Old Course? Yeah. Old Course there?
The Old Course
Gorgeous.
Hotel, again.
6-star.
It's a proper hotel. It's a proper hotel, certainly. That Road Hole Bar is a great place to sit and have a nice wee dram or nice wee some bar snacks or something. Great rest. Again, they've built a lovely new restaurant. Looks back down on the 17th green out towards the 18th hole. St Andrews is full of amazing bars and restaurants.
Yeah, a lot of buzz.
Yeah.
Dunvegan's my favourite though. The Dunvegan, can't go wrong with that.
Proper golf kind of crowd in there.
Good guys.
A pint of Guinness in the jigger after a round on the Old Course though is
quite nice. As long as it doesn't get knocked over by an incoming golf ball.
Okay, well on that note, it's a good time to finish. As usual, remember you can get in touch with us via our website www.scotlandwheregolfbegan.com. Social is @wheregolfbegan, and our email is info@scotlandwheregolfbegan.com. Cheers.
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 Bye.